It is phenomenal when you are able to work in an industry and make a living. And that could be said about musicians, actors, producers, directors. It could be any of that. Entertainment is what helps us feel not so alone in the world. I know it's what helped me get through when I went through the pandemic. I was well entertained by a lot of the shows, a lot of the music, a lot of the podcasts that I consumed. I am extremely excited to have someone come from the world of acting and who has been in the business for a couple of decades. And we're bringing her to the Interludes Podcast, and I can't wait for you to meet her. This is Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast. The Interludes Podcast,
a Pure Lighthouse production.
This episode is brought to you by PureLighthouseMedia.com, home to the book, A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting and the personal memoir come together perfectly. If you want to start your podcast journey, schedule a 15-minute call with me, research our podcasting blog tips. It's all on our fully remodeled website today.
And now, all the way from the south side of Chicago, give it up for your host, Val the Voice Johnson.
Hey, everyone. You know what? I got a friends of mine who have been doing acting for years. And for myself, I've always loved when people are able to talk about their journey and let us know what it takes to make it in the industry. And people always say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can make it in Hollywood, you can make it anywhere. But this young lady has been in the business for, I said decades, it's 5 decades, and has appeared on renowned shows like The Jeffersons, Stand and Deliver. And she started in one of my favorite cities in the world, New York, or for her, the Bronx. And she has an impressive resume of, number one, being in the forefront. I've seen a couple of comedy routines she's done as well. And right now, she has transitioned to help other actors in the Acting Smarter Now podcast, where she encourages you to use your voice in the acting space. And of course, it helps other actors work on their personal brand, because she's definitely done that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce to you Lydia Nicole. Hey, how you doing?
First of all, last night a DJ saved my life.
Go ahead and say
Last
that.
night a DJ saved my life from a broken heart. And a little trivia for you, Val.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a radio station working as the music director, and I was the first one to play that song on air. Not in the clubs, but on air. Oh, yes.
Oh,
so
my God.
whenever I hear you say a DJ saved my life, I always go, last night a DJ saved my life. So I just so you know. So before my acting career, I was in music. I worked at WBLS in the beginning of WBLS in New York. I am from Spanish Harlem, not from the Bronx.
Sorry.
Just have to give a shout out to El Barrio. And so, yes, I worked at WBLS for 5 years, and then came to Los Angeles to pursue acting at 18 years old.
Wow. And you know what? I'm trying to figure this out. When people are making a decision, because I've been told this, you either go east or you go west, and you lived east. So why did you feel the pull to Los Angeles, even after being in New York, which is one of the largest markets in the world when it comes to entertainment?
Well, I wanted to be in film and television, which at the time was Los Angeles. I also wanted to get the hell out of New York. I want to get away from my family, trauma. And I wanted to, I figured if I was going to do it, I had to do it on my own, which is what it was. I had no cushion, In New York, I could have stayed in radio for a long time. Nobody was throwing me out. I was, I was the child prodigy of the station. They weren't going to get rid of me. I just felt like I wanted to be in Los Angeles and make movies and do television. And so I worked with Hal Jackson, who had the Hal Jackson International Talented Teens at the time. And we were scheduled to come to Los Angeles to do the international pageant. So when we came out, I brought 2 suitcases, one which was my clothes, and the other one which was packed with acting books. And when they left, I stayed. And the thing that helped me was because I worked in radio all those years, I met all these record people. And so I had a long list of record people to call. They all said, when you come to Los Angeles, look me up, blah, 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 blah. Well, none of them answered me back, except the person I did not call, which was Cecil Holmes, who was the co-owner of Casablanca Records. And I have been in Los Angeles for a week, and I called at the hotel and said, "You have not called me. What are you doing? What's going on?" And he said, "Come to the company on Monday and you will start working then." And so I was very fortunate in that I came to Los Angeles, had a job right away. I didn't know I was going to have a job. I had no clue what was going to happen.
Wow.
But I got to work in the record company for probably about maybe another 10 years, records and radio, because I worked at Casablanca. Then I worked as Patrice Russian's office manager. And then I went back to radio because Inner City, who owned BLS, had bought 2 radio stations in Los Angeles, KGFJ and Cute 102. So I went back to radio while I was in pursuit of my acting. So when I came to Los Angeles, I was in pursuit of acting. So even though I had day jobs, at night I would go to acting classes. I was submitting myself for auditions and agents. And so, but I did keep my job for I kept working 9 to 5 until the acting was really kicking off,
Yeah. And what was the project that eventually broke through, that got you going and you were like, you know what, I think I'm on to something? What was the first break? And in that arena, did you find any mentors?
Actually, it wasn't a break. It was, we had gotten new management at the radio station. Okay. And we had new management a few times. And so they were always, this sounds stupid, but they were always picking on me. It was always because I was from the New York office.
Okay.
So they saw me as a threat. Oh, then and I was in management at that time. I was the program director, the music director of the 2 stations.
Wow.
And there was so I would get pushed back, and I would just sit there and go, okay, you're going to be gone very quickly. So I'm just going to sit here. And I did it with 3 3 people coming in.
Wow.
And it was maybe about a 2-year period. And then I just said, I'm done. So it wasn't so much that acting was taking off. I was working, but it was more of, you know what, this is going to continue. I'm going to be the target. And, I do my job. I think I did a great job because we were number one. The AM station was number one. So I feel like I was doing my job, but there was always, I was the target. And it just had to do with any management company that comes in, or management that comes in, they want their own people.
Okay.
I wasn't their people. So, and I understood that. I understood that.
And I'm thinking to myself, there weren't a lot of women in programming.
No, there wasn't.
Radio then. So
when I was at
was
BLS,
there anyone around that could help you, or
when I was
there, and that's the reason you left?
I came in through BLS. My boss was Wanda Ramos, and she was a powerhouse. Wanda was responsible for, once Frankie Crocker left, she was responsible for keeping BLS number one, and then she started a company. She was responsible for the disco era on radio. Like she signed with Burkhart Abrams, which was a very large radio conglomerate. And so she did the music for all their stations. Okay. She did the disco for all their stations. She was a badass. Anyway, going back to your question, there weren't a lot, but it wasn't even that. It was, that's not what my focus was. I loved, I loved music. I loved it. It was joy. It was great to just sit and listen to music coming in, new music, and go, oh my God, we got to play this, or this is a dog. This is not going to work. But it was a joy, but I did not like the politics. And it wasn't, and I was young, at that time I was like maybe 21, 22. I was like, you know what? I don't need this. And so I left. It didn't have the excitement for me that the music did. The music wasn't enough to keep me going. Okay, am I going to survive another management company coming, or not company, but other managers coming in who are going to try to mess with me? I don't want it. So then it was, it was just figuring it out with my acting.
Right. And now let me jump in here, because I was reading about you and you said that you became a part of the Funny Ladies of Color at the world famous Comedy Store, which is huge. How did you get involved with this? Because they said this was the first Telemundo's first all Latina show. Is that?
They're two different
They're
groups.
two different. Okay.
So as an actor, you have to figure out what your niche is. And being of color, the actors that I knew that I was friends with, they all could sing and dance. I couldn't sing and dance. That was not my forte.
That wasn't you.
God didn't give me that. God did not give me that.
It's okay. So the Funny Ladies of Comedy, how did that come about?
No, so first I did the movie Stand and Deliver. And after it was done, Warner Brothers tapped me to go across the country to promote the film because I was one of the students. So I did that for a year, had no script, and I could get a whole auditorium of people laughing. And I had been thinking of stand-up for a few years. I would write out my routine, put it back in the drawer and go, and then, but when I did that and I saw the consistency of me being able to get on stage without a script, make people laugh, win an entire room, I was like, okay, it's time. So I got with a friend of mine who was an actor and a writer. I said, I'm going to do it. I need you to help me. She helped me with my material. We went to a club in the San Fernando Valley, which Tommy Davidson used to MC. This was before Tommy blew up. And and I started doing it there. And then when I started, there weren't a lot of Latinas. Well, there was 2 of us, and there weren't many women or women of color. So this woman, Chacha Sandoval, who was the only other Latina doing stand-up when I was doing stand-up, said to me, I want to do a woman show, because they're not putting us on, if you get one woman a night, that's enough. So she kept saying this over and over and over. And I was like, look, girl, I'm tired of you saying, let's do it. Let's do it. I just jumped in, and we did it, and we started Funny Ladies of Color. We actually started it where I started doing stand-up in the Valley. And we did it there for about a year, and it was doing very well. And she was working out of the Comedy Store. So she said, I can get us in the Comedy Store. I said, bet, let's do it. So we took it to the Comedy Store, and we had a lot of success because it was different. It was women of color. We even had a woman with a white woman with a red wig on. So she got to be of color. So we did that. We had great audiences, because we had to bring in our own audiences. So I would go to the deaf community, and I would get an interpreter and have them invite all the deaf people to come. And so we did our show for the deaf community. I would go to the firehouses, the precincts, the sheriff's office, and we would make it a night of the sheriffs, a night of the firefighters. One night we messed up, and we made it the night of the firefighters and the sheriffs. And girl, we had to call the police on them because they started fighting with each other. And they drink, which is great. They drink, and when you're booking a club, it's all about that 2 drink minimum. So they were drinking, but they took it too far. Anyway, so they took it too far. So so I did that, Funny Ladies of Color. We did that for a few years. I left that, and then a Latina comedian, Sully Diaz, came up to me. She said, so you left Funny Ladies, so let's start a Latin group. And so Hot and Spicy Mamitas came along, and we did that, and we were the first of our kind. We had a CD, which is still available. It's on Spotify. You can get it all over. And it was 5 of us, and we toured, and we got all kind of press, and Telemundo loved us, and we kept telling them, we're not Spanish. It's an English show. But they would come, they would record, they would film us, and oh my God. And we had a really great audience. And so, and then I left that and started working on my one-woman show, which was called Calling Up Poppy, which was about me growing up in Spanish Harlem. And and just doing I've been in the arts for over 50 years. Thank God. I have made my money from the arts, and I am very grateful every day.
Aired NBA on NBC shows. I'm gonna tune in to hear that, because if I, in my mind, if I got a pair of Jordans, or
you do get a pair of Jordans.
Exactly. I want to hear the person I've idolized in my childhood, or I've heard about, and hear what he thinks about the sport. So this is very exciting to know that he is coming to it. But one thing I was thinking, I said, man, I am excited, because I haven't really been excited for who's got me excited about basketball recently has been the wins. And I don't know.
Your boy. Tony got you excited about basketball. Everything else is secondary.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. I guess we need to wrap up the quarter.
We're going to wrap this quarter up. Me and Val out here wilding out.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up
we, the AP Calculus class, would like to present this plaque to our teacher.
Give me a break. I do more comps than paid customers.
Can you believe this? And this guy's reading War and Peace. You think they're waiting in Brentwood?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. Telling you they're the friendly bank.
Why are you doing this to me?
Here's your choices. You tell us what we need to know. We protect you.
What are you, some kind of wise guy? Right? Turn around.
Hey, what are you doing?
Shut up. You got another watch, man?
No, I don't.
Yeah, let's take all his clothes off again. What's in that pocket?
No.
Nice. Thanks.
Hey, wait a minute. That don't belong to me.
I know. Now it belongs to me.
Yeah. And I think about your journey, and you were, I want to say, a go-getter. Like, I'm now hearing about everything that happened with the Funny Ladies of Color, what you did with that, how it translated, and someone saw, was like, you know what? Let's do it now. The hot and spicy mamitas, like this
Mamitas.
is a this
Yes.
mahitas. Like this is
mamitas.
Let me make sure I say that right. Mamitas, the hot and spicy mamitas. That right?
Yes.
There you go. So this was a big deal for acting. During that time that you were doing comedy, and then you went on to do your one-woman show, were there other acting jobs that came up, or anything that stood out to you that you loved?
I was doing television. I was, I'd get small roles in a film and do whatever. For me, as an actor, as a creative, it's never been about me waiting for something.
Okay.
It's always been about, what am I going to do? How do I put myself out front? Because when I first came to Los Angeles, there were not many roles. I mean, I was lucky in that I got to do a 2-episode of The Jeffersons where I stabbed George's wife, and then I redeemed myself in the 2nd episode. But there weren't a lot of roles for people of color, especially Latinos. And the roles that we did get, I played every gang member, crackhead, hooker, maid. Those were the roles that were being available for me to go up for. So even though I was booking many of them, and the illegal aliens, let's because I played a lot of illegal aliens. So for me, it became about giving them humanity. Whatever role I got, to give it humanity. And then continue to go, okay, what can I do for my career? So I produce my own stuff. I produce my own stand-up shows. I produce my own plays, everything that I could do, not to wait for anybody to give me. And that's been my career. And then I partnered, I worked with Robert Townsend, Hollywood Shuffle. From the beginning to the end, I cooked all the food for the thing. I mean, we had no money, and it was like, what can we do? Well, I can go shopping with your credit card, and I can buy the food, and I can feed the crew, and that's what we did. So, Stand and Deliver. I mean, Hollywood Shuffle was shot in 2.5 years, and it was like, he would do a weekend whenever he could get all the monies together for that weekend. And then we would just shoot Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday. And I would cook all the food, do the crafty, do whatever was needed. Wow. So I've always been about not waiting. And I've always connected with other artists who weren't waiting, because most artists want people to come, to be discovered. Well, we have to discover ourselves. And that's what Acting Smarter Now is about. I do this podcast. I've been doing, it was originally Common Sense Mamita, and then it morphed into Acting Smarter Now. But it's always been about helping artists do for themselves. No one is coming to rescue you. You have to rescue yourself. And what can you do with the talent that you have? How can you translate that? You know, Robert Townsend wasn't waiting for people to give him work. He said, okay, Keenan, we're going to do our own stuff. And Hollywood, what a lot of people don't know is Hollywood Shuffle started out as a bunch of skits that Keenan
I heard. Yeah.
And then they did so many that it morphed into, what story can we tell from this? Well, we can tell the story of an actor who's trying to, you know, make it in Hollywood. And thus Hollywood Shuffle came about. And that movie is all about actors of color trying to find their way and be considered serious, you know, but all they have to go through on their way to be a serious actor.
Yeah. And I'm here. I want to make sure that I showed this on Lydia's YouTube channel. She is literally teaching from her experience. And the fun thing about what acting smarter now means is, I love that you said, no one's going to come rescue you or discover you. You have to come with your own ideas. You have to come with how you're going to make it and create your own opportunities. Because I think the biggest takeaway from what you have done in the industry is that you have created your own opportunities. And that's definitely, I think a lot of people just need to learn that, especially as being an entrepreneur. You have to create your own opportunities, and then things will fall into place. And how many actors have you helped, by the way, get either break in or create their own opportunities in acting?
Thousands over the years.
Wow.
Thousands. Well, it started in my acting classes because of the fact that I came out of music and I learned working at Casablanca. I worked in the R&B department, and we had to be self-contained. We didn't have access to all the other departments that pop music had. We were an R&B, so we had to do marketing, we had to do our own advertising, we had to do our own promotions, we had to do publicity, we had to do A&R, we had to do it all. So I learned all of it. So in acting classes and meeting actors, I would say, why don't you do this? You should get postcards and do this and blah, blah, blah. So I was always, because I had learned everything that I learned in the record business applied to acting. And because I had a front row seat and I was actively doing stuff in records, I saw artists, a lot of R&B artists who were very talented, but they didn't know, and they were waiting for the record company to do something for them. I was like, they ain't gonna do nothing for you. It's us, man. You got it. Come on now, let's go. And so I would get into fights sometimes. I worked with the Silvers for a period of time, and what I learned at the record company is all those limos, all that stuff you do, they're charging you for it, and it's, think of it like going to the hospital, right? For a Band-Aid, they charge you hundreds of dollars. For cotton swabs, they charge you hundreds of dollars. It's the same in the record business. So they would, so I would go pick them up in a rented car. We weren't having, I said, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not getting a limo. We're not doing. We're getting a big old car, and we're all getting in the car, and that's how we're moving. And then we'd go eat at Fat Burgers, and we'd go eat. You know, I was like, no, we're not going to a restaurant. I'm sorry, we're going to go get a burger, and we're going back. And we're going to go hit all the record shops and the radio stations, and because you're not going to lose money on my watch. It was very important.
That's what made you a great manager, and at the time when you were
I wasn't a manager. I just worked in the office, and I would do whatever nobody else wanted to do, and nobody wanted to go take the artists out. So I got stuck with that. I got stuck with taking them to the discos to promote their records and taking them to the radio stations and the record shops.
Who was the most fascinating in all of the, and I'm thinking now we're going to go music artists, of when you worked and did that, who was one of the most fascinating artists that you had to pick up and take around and do that?
It wasn't who I had to pick up. The most fascinating artist for me when I worked at Casablanca was Gene Simmons, because
from Kiss, the rock group.
Yes.
Wow.
Because he would come in like a businessman. Before Jay-Z, there was Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons would come in with his manager whenever he was in town on Fridays, and he had them open the books so he could see how the money was coming in, what was being spent. It wasn't a manager. I'm sorry. It was his. It wasn't his manager. It was his accountant.
Okay.
And that taught me everything, because this guy would come in a suit and tie. I didn't even know who he was. I'd see him not all the time, but I'd see him a lot. And the women we had a big secretarial pit outside of our office. It was like a big pit. It was like a big open room that you had to pass to get to every other room. You would pass that room. And so every time he would come in, there would be such a buzz. Oh my God, he's here. I'm like, who's here? Gene Simmons. And I'm looking for the costume. Then I would see this guy in a suit. I didn't really know much about Kiss, but I learned a lot from him.
I never heard of any financial issues with that particular rock group, because I don't know if you've tracked it in the music industry. You've heard of very famous people, especially in R&B in particular, go bankrupt and
being taken advantage of by their managers, by the record company. And a lot of it has to do with us as a people, Black and brown, not knowing financial stuff. And what I saw was, we had Donna Summer, but we didn't have Donna Summer. Donna Summer had her own staff, her manager they had their own people handle her stuff. Once she broke, she was taken from R&B, because she broke R&B. She started disco, but it was the R&B, the R&B radio stations that broke her. And I'm glad to say that BLS was the station that broke her. Frankie Crocker played Love to Love You Baby, the whole 19 minutes of it. And so, Frankie did amazing stuff, but it was R&B that broke her. And then once she crossed over to pop, she was no longer considered R&B, yet we were always the one to break her records first. And then pop would play it. And so she was the only R&B artist that I saw get special treatment.
Wow.
Nobody else did.
Because she had her own management team.
She had, and they took care of her.
And I think that's important to know as an artist, even as an actor. If you have your own people, you won't, or you can avoid not being taken advantage of, especially if you know what the numbers are. Would you agree?
Yes. And that's why AI is so fabulous, because you can run the contract through your Chat GPT and see what are you going to get? How is it going to break down? They want you in perpetuity? No, thank you. Because that means you're not going to get anything, and right now, and a lot of actors don't know the business. So they just want to be on camera, and it's more than that. If you look at Issa Rae is very smart. I think she's probably one of the smartest actors out there. Will Smith, also smart, even though, the slap took him down a lot, but he was very smart in how he did business. So it just, it's all about working the business end so that you can do your craft.
Hey everyone, it's Val the Voice. We interrupt this wonderful episode to ask a question. Are you subscribed and liking this particular episode? Well, we want to make sure that you are following us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we want to continue to give you great content just like this. All right, I'm so sorry. Let's get back to the episode right now. If you want to make it as a musician, if you want to make it in the business, show business as an actor, you have to know your genre, you have to know your lane, and you have to market yourself and create your own opportunities. That's what I've learned just from our conversation. And I'm telling you, I could be here all day chatting with Miss Lydia. I'm telling you, thank you so very much for coming. And if people wanted to find out more about how they can become a brilliant actor and other workshops that you present, where would they go?
They can go to actingsmarternow.com and they can go to see what I'm doing. I have a course that's called Booked and Unstoppable, where I help you find your niche, where I help you find what it is that you should be doing that's different from everybody else. And then the Acting Smarter Circle is also there that you can go ahead and sign up for. And they can go to YouTube, YouTube/Lydia Nicole Live. And I have over 1,000 videos that they can get and great playlists so they can get what they need for free.
which is great. And like I said, I have checked out a couple of Lydia's videos and I've learned a lot. What you can do first starting out, the 4 audition errors that people make or what they can do better. You have a wealth of information. I'm grateful that you are teaching and letting the next generation know that they can make it in show business, which is phenomenal. Oh my gosh.
Because you know what? Last night a DJ saved my life. Last night a DJ saved my life from whatever.
Oh my gosh. Lydia Nicole, thank you so much for joining us on today.
Thank you.
I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast. The Interludes Podcast.
Original concept by Valerie Johnson.
Sports segments for Talk on Tuesdays, produced by Coach Tony Thompson.
Original intro and outro music produced by Kendall Nesbitt.
The Interludes Podcast, a pure Lighthouse production. This episode is brought to you by our brand new website, PureLighthouseMedia.com, the official home of A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting meet personal transformation. And now available in print. Order your signed copy today and discover how finding your voice can change your life. Are you a business or entrepreneur looking to promote your work through a dynamic podcasting platform? Partner with us through sponsorship and marketing opportunities. Your message belongs in front of our audience. Got that $1 million podcast idea, but don't know where to start? Whether you need a coach, a guide, or a full-on producer, I'm here to walk you through the process and bring your podcast vision to life. Visit PureLighthouseMedia.com today to get your book, book your consultation, or connect with us about sponsorship. Let's grow together.